Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rush Limbaugh.
Hey! Thank you! Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hold it a second. Hold it just a second. Let me hear something. I thought I saw a woman on the phone over there. I don't... There's a woman on the phone. Madam. We've begun the show. Did you, I mean, don't hang up prematurely. I mean, if your kids or something, you still need to...
I told them I have to go.
Okay. You know, that fits right in with our first segment today. We're going to talk about how women want to run men's lives. I mean, speaking of... just kidding, madam. Just kidding. Speaking of which, hey, Deborah, have you heard from the fighter pilot yet? You should have seen... When the show was over, there she is. Because, you know, Deborah is a commie babe. Deborah's a liberal. The men she goes out with are probably a bunch of wusses. They're probably just like Washington journalists. You know, these men are cowed now. You know, the Arnold Schwarzenegger of Washington, D.C. is Michael Kinsley. I mean, that's about as masculine as it gets down there, because those guys have all been cowed by the feminist movement and thinking that's what a real man is. And those probably guys Deborah goes out with, you know, well, I don't even want to try to describe them, but you probably get the idea. So these guys that fly F-16s stationed over in South Korea watch this show, and they've got one of them wants to take Deborah out to dinner, so I brought her out here and I showed her the picture of the F-16s that they fly, and I said, Deborah, now you accept this guy's invitation because these are real men. And so after yesterday's show, I said, so Deborah, are you going to go out with the guy? She said, you didn't show me guys, you showed me airplanes. Those are just... Those are just airplanes. I said, yeah, Deborah, but it may be time for landing gear up. Okay, folks, now I got to tell you something. This may be a little tough, because I have about had it with the male bashing that's going on in America today, and I'm serious about it. I'm sick and tired of men being thought of as predators, as rapists, as responsible for everything that people think has gone wrong with this society is the fault of men. I'm tired of hostile women. I'm tired of colleges that turn out female graduates that are prepared to be raped or beat up or discriminated against or somehow, and they're just waiting for some man to discriminate, take advantage, or be cruel, unkind, or whatever. And I'm sick and tired of... Now, I'll tell you what, it may in the old days. I'm not suggesting we go back to the old days, because there was discrimination and there was some inequality and so forth. And I'm suggesting that, but I'll tell you, back in those days, there wasn't this hostility. I mean, men weren't out there hating women, unless they were married. But for the most part, just kidding. I mean, I'm serious about this. You look at, just to illustrate this. You know what happened to John Bobbitt? Everybody's making jokes about this. You've heard all those jokes. And even men can laugh about it. Men are making jokes themselves. But if the reverse had happened, and if some maniacal, crazy guy destined for the nut house had removed with a knife or something his wife's breast, do you think there'd have been one joke about it? And do you think any woman would have been laughing about it? There'd have been mass hysteria. You look at the movies. I mean, they're just... It is obligatory now that some guy at least once is going to take a knee or a foot to the groin in a movie. Imagine if that happened to a woman. In the theater when it happens, everybody laughs. Ooh, laughing on. Imagine that happening to a woman. It really, this is just a one-sided thing, and it doesn't happen. Now, we're going to get into this in just a moment here, but before we do, here is our feminist update theme, because we have a lot of feminist stuff coming. Take a look.
We're pierced. We're pierced.
Now, that sets the stage here, ladies. Thank you. Thank you if you want to let it go. It's fine. So what may you be asking is the single greatest source of my discomfort today? Well, I was reading the Wall Street Journal. I'm sure in every newspaper today in the country there was a story about how the National Merit Scholarship Test discriminates against women and how so few women pass this test. 60% of the people who pass the test are boys or men, and only 40% are women. And of course the ACLU says, that's discrimination. The test is unfair. We've got to change the test. Everybody's running up. And if you didn't read the Wall Street Journal, then you don't know the real reason people are upset about it. Well, I happen to have the Wall Street Journal story here. Here is what the experts say is the reason why women don't do as well on these. These are multiple choice tests. It says here, experts say that multiple choice tests themselves are unfair to girls because girls are reluctant to guess. It's multiple choice, A, B, C, and D, and because girls are reluctant to guess, they don't do as well. What do? Leave the questions blank? Oh, I don't know, there's not an idea. I mean, the guys must be guessing. It's just a matter of luck, isn't it? They're guessing better than the girls. Now, then it goes on to say here, some woman named Schumann says, the emphasis on speed and guessing work to the detriment of females who may be risk averse. I don't think women are averse to risk. Gee whiz, they go out on dates these days, don't they? They get married. Now, I'm serious. I am really serious about it. I am tired of women being portrayed as helpless, victimless, little whimpering snobs who are incapable of dealing with the obstacles of life. And furthermore, I am sick and tired of the reason they are whimpering and sniveling and helpless little victims is because of whatever men are doing to them. And I think if you, for example, this multiple choice test, here's how we solve the problem. It's real simple. You just add, instead of A, B, C, and D, you add an E and an F, maybe a G. E would be, well, it all depends. Check that. Or F would be, well, what do you mean by that? Right? And then G as an option could be, do they have this in a size 4? It really, ladies and gentlemen, is, look at this headline. Look at this cover in Time magazine. I mean, here's a great example. Are men really that bad? And look at that picture. Can you imagine what would have happened if we'd have put a picture of Molly Yard and a picture of a damn sow's head on her? Well, who would have told a difference in that? But you take your favorite feminist, folks. I am sick and tired of putting up with this. Men and women have got to get along. And I'll tell you something, ladies, and I don't mean this as a threat, and I'm just, you know, life is what it is, and we are here because we have been created. And you are never, ever going to be able to remove the competitive nature from men. It is never, ever going to happen. They're just not going to bend over. You're never going to know what's in some guy's mind unless you marry him. And then you'll know what's in his mind even when you don't. Hey, look at this. Look at this, folks. This is Red Book magazine. On the cover, Tipper and Al. Ooh, what a lovely couple. Now, let me show you inside the magazine. This is some of what Tipper has to say in this story. Quote, I used to subscribe to the feminist doctrine, but now I find it more difficult. I still subscribe to it in terms of legalities, equal pay for equal work, but in terms of your life, I've dismissed a lot of it as unworkable. If I had pursued a career, we would have had 2 separate lives, and I don't even know that we would have stayed married. You know what that means? That means that I had to make my husband's career number 1. And she was a freelance photographer, which meant she could have worked whenever she wanted to. Didn't have to be 9 to 5. She could have chosen. Still, that wasn't good enough. She made the decision. I'm telling you, this is just what it is. If you want a successful marriage, let your husband do what he wants to do. That's just it. And I know a lot of you are going to misunderstand that. I've mixed some humor. I've mixed some humor here with some serious things. But you stop and think about it, because we've gone too far with portraying women as helpless and portraying them as victims, and blaming everything that goes wrong with women on men. And all of these, these young kids that go to the grocery store checkout line and see some of these, like, is men really that bad and so forth? I don't know too many women who want to live without men and too many men who want to live without women. And this is all a result of feminist ideology that's just overtaking our society. And as I've always said, what's happening here is that there are God-given roles. There is human nature. And what's happening here is that there's a group of people, for some reason, women, militant women, not all, that are upset with their God-given role of human nature and are trying to change it and trying to alter it, and you can't. You can only temporarily adjust it, and then it gets to fix itself, and people are all in the whack because of that. All right, we got to take a break. Have to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about trust funds in government and how they're all bogus after this. I'll tell you what, you women, you don't realize how fortunate you are to be watching this show. I have just spelled out for you the key ingredients to a successful marriage, and you probably don't even realize it. But rewatch this show, watch the tape, and you'll see what I mean. I left something out, too. I really think on this multiple choice test for the National Merit Award Scholarship, I think it goes back to the Bible. I think this reason why girls don't do well on multiple choice tests goes all the way back to the Bible, all the way back to Genesis, Adam and Eve. God said, all right, Eve, multiple choice or multiple orgasms? What's it going to be? We all know what was chosen, so that's in the first multiple choice test ever given. All right. We went long in our first segment, folks, so we're going to have to cut these next ones short. It's just the way it works out. We want to play you President Clinton in Ohio yesterday, or last week rather, talking about his crime program, how he's going to pay for it. Listen carefully. Here's what he said.
We need some clear things in the crime bill that comes out of both the Senate and the House. What's the bottom line? One, we've got to have a stronger police presence, not only to catch criminals, but to prevent crime.
What would you know?
The Senate's approved, and the House should approve another 100,000 police officers over the next 5 years.
Right.
It will be paid for, not by new taxes, but through a violent crime trust fund that will pay for the entire crime bill through reductions in the federal bureaucracy, reductions by attrition.
It's that easy.
We have proposed to reduce the number of federal employees over the next 5 years by 252,000. That's a 12% reduction. Would make the federal government the smallest it's been in 30 years, and take the entire amount of money we get from savings and put it in to fighting crime. I think it's a good start.
I was down in Florida over the weekend. I saw this publication. If you want a job in the federal government, there are 13,000 open right now. They're hiring faster than anybody in the country is. I should have brought it in. I forgot to bring it in. Now, just see how easy. We just create a trust fund, and that's it. Now, we've heard this before. Would you like to remember? Watch this.
After 12 years of rising deficits and Americans feeling deceived about the issue, I don't blame the people of this country for being distrustful about what they hear from Washington when it comes to bringing down this deficit. That is why I have decided today to propose that we establish a deficit reduction trust fund and put every penny of new taxes and the budget cuts proposed in my budget into the trust fund so the American people know that it has to go to deficit reduction.
We have to take a break, but stay with us, because when we come back, I'm going to show you where that trust fund is. I'm going to show you how much went into it, how much went out. I'm going to show you exactly how bogus this whole trust fund concept is, and it's right out of Bill Clinton's own budget. Right out of here when we come back. Don't go away. For either funding the crime bill or deficit reduction is nothing but an accounting hoax. Page 209 of the Analytical Perspectives portion of the 1995 fiscal year budget is the Deficit Reduction Fund. Follow along with me but don't show that yet. Let me read to you what it says first. The Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, which is the 1993 budget deal, requires that amounts equal to the spending reductions and revenue increases resulting from the 1993 budget deal, or OBRA, be credited to the fund. The order also requires that information about the fund, including statements of the amounts in and federal debt redeemed by the fund, whatever this means, be included in the president's budget. And so it is. That's the table we showed you. Throw that back up there, Chep. This is the amount of money that went into the fund the last 3 months of last year, because the fiscal year in this country begins on October 1st. $11,382 million. Now, if you multiply that times 4, since this is for 1 quarter, you get basically $44 million of debts. $44 million. And then the redemptions were the same amount, 11,382. My friends, all this is an imaginary line. If you run a business and you have a ledger on your profit and loss sheet, it's just a line that you add all of the money that we're going to save, they think, and you put that in a line, and all the money that we're going to generate by new taxes, you add that, put those two figures, add them together, put them in a line, and then you spend it. That's it. You spend it. It zeroes out. Put the chart back up. You'll see the bottom line is fund balance as of December 31, 1993. Fund balance, there's nothing in it. Zero. There is no money in the fund by their own admission, because it's just an accounting nightmare and gimmick, and it's the same thing with this police fund or trust fund to get rid of the cost of crime. It doesn't exist. When you're running a deficit anyway, everything you collect has to go to it, and if you still have one, you haven't saved. In other words, there's no money that is being invested so that it's growing, and they're going to take some out and apply it to the deficit. It isn't there. It doesn't exist. No such thing. Typical Clinton tomfoolery. And we'll be back with our final segment right after this. You know, I want to take you back to last fall. You remember last fall we were talking about NAFTA? You people thought I had deserted you. You thought that I was not on your side. You thought that I had lost touch with you. You hated me because you thought that I didn't understand that NAFTA was going to hurt you. You thought I should be on Perot's side. I said, no, I'm on your side. NAFTA is going to help you. I said, especially you automobile guys, when NAFTA is all said and done, you're going to be making more cars because you got another market to export them to. Well. I stayed firmly rooted in my principle. I've got here the January-February issue of Ford World employee newsletter, not written by management. Read along with me. Ford will create the equivalent of 1,000 jobs in the United States and Canada, and will reactivate 300 jobs in Mexico by increasing exports to Mexico and adding a Mexican production source for the new Ford Contour Mercury Mystique. Together, these actions are expected to indirectly create more than 5,000 new jobs in the 3 countries. Vehicle exports to Mexico are expected to reach more than 50,000 a year by 1996. So you AFL-CIO guys and Mr. Perot and you Peroistas, has this now finally convinced you? You said these people are going to be put out of work. You said these people were going to lose their jobs and their families and their health benefits because these jobs that make these cars are going to be going to Mexico. And I said no. What's going to happen is that these people are going to be making cars and trucks to be shipped to Mexico. Then you said the Mexicans don't have enough money to buy them. They're just lucky if they have running water. They're a dream down there as an outhouse. Well, apparently they got enough money to buy these cars that these Ford manufacturers are going to make. So what could I say? I'm a person of class, I'm a person of dignity, refinement, and good breeding. What can I say? This is what I say right here. See? I told you so. Take you back to Christmas Day of 1992 on this program. A young couple in our audience asked if they could have their proposal. Actually, the future groom, the guy said, Mr. Limbaugh, could I propose to hopefully my wife on your show? And I said, well, sure. Christmas, holiday spirit, my favorite time of year. And so we would like to show you, because the couple now are married. They've actually done it. And we have video of that, but let's relive the moment. Here is Mike proposing to Cindy on this show on Christmas Day, 1992.
Cindy, the last 4 years have been a lot of fun. It's been the best time of my life. And the only thing I can think of to give you for Christmas, which would be comparable, would be my last name. Will you marry me, please?
No, you said yes? We didn't know. We got a letter and a videotape in the mail the other day, and they have gotten married, and they sent us about a minute's worth of video, and I'd like to show it to you.
Michael, I give you this ring.
Michael, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my vow.
as a symbol of my vow.
And with all that I am.
And with all that I am.
And all that I have.
And all that I have.
I honor you.
I honor you.
Now here's the party. The famous... Watch this.
3.
See, they all made a dash for that, didn't they? They all really wanted that bouquet. There's a comment there, but I won't make it. Oh, that's great. That is so great. See, now, you see, my friends, this show promotes family values. Here is their letter. It said, by the time you receive this, we'll be on our honeymoon, creating the foundation of another strong family. I know what they mean. For those of you in Rio Linda, go ask your parents. Once again, thanks for making our event so special, and keep up the great work and fine entertainment. God bless you. And we have a picture, because the groom has to give his groomsmen all a bunch of gifts. Look what he gave me. It was either that or Rolex watches, he said. And so he chose copies of my new book. Well, that was a fun show, and they're great people, and I wish them all the best. Now, when we come back, we got to talk a little bit about rap music. Welcome back, folks. We don't have much time left, but I wanted to show you, since we're on the topic of sexuality and all that, the Philadelphia Stock Exchange has published a list of verbal, nonverbal, and physical no-nos. These are things which today constitute sexual harassment. Let's start with the verbals. Referring to a woman as a girl, gal, babe, or honey is sexual harassment. Discussing sexual fantasies, preferences, or history, sexual harassment. Asking personal questions about a woman's social or sexual life, sexual harassment. Get this. Making comments about a person's clothing, anatomy, or looks. Do you know what that means? That means you cannot say, gosh, you look good today. That's sexual harassment. It really, and you know, in the early days of the feminist movement, the early 70s, I can remember complimenting a woman on her appearance, not in the office, but on a date, and she got mad and said, what about my brain? Or some such thing. And it was a formative experience, and I always say, I hope you're not offended by this, but I think you look pretty good. And I prepare for the... Really, I mean, this stuff is silly. Repeatedly asking out a person who's not interested. Ever heard of persistence? Oh, I'll ask her out. She says no. Okay, no, go away. I mean, you got to keep trying, don't you? This is not good. Reference to the time of month is considered sexual harassment. And you can't reference males or females in the workplace as guys. That's sexual harassment. There's more when we come back on our next show, so don't go away.